What is happening, y'all? Welcome on back to the next part of the walkthrough, and now with Stormveil conquered, we are ready to wrap things up. Basically going to be doing a couple of quick things here in Limgrave and just kind of clearing that area out. So since we already have lake-facing cliffs, there's really no need to go through this. Don't worry about that for now. Instead, the first thing we're going to do is warp over to the Limgrave Tower Bridge, and we're going to go get y'all your first Great Rune. So while we run across this bridge, I mean, this will be irrelevant down the line, but I do want to mention, obviously a lot of people are like, you know, hey, where is the walkthrough? We need more episodes. You know, this takes a lot of time to produce. Just for perspective, we streamed for about 5 hours the other day taking notes, and 5 hours worth of note-taking and streaming gives me enough material to make maybe 3 30-minute episodes of this series. So there's a lot of work that's going into this, and I'm trying to get it out, but, you know, between other commitments and whatnot, things are fairly limited at the moment. So for the time being, there's only 1 episode per day, which, by the way, just run along this right side. There's nothing you need to worry about with loot. We just need to get up to this guy, and then we're in the clear. But yeah, so right now there's only 1 episode per day. The goal is, of course, to ramp that up, but until I am farther through the game and I have more material prepped up, I have to keep it at 1 per day. You know, the Let's Play series, I know a lot of people are like, well, hey, that's getting 5. That's because I had the game 2 weeks early. The Let's Play series is all pre-recorded. That's done. I'm not, you know, juggling back and forth. So when y'all see a walkthrough episode, usually I had just gotten done playing the game and going through all the prep to make these notes. So please have patience. I'm sorry I can't give y'all more, but, you know, I have a lot of people that are like messaging me on Twitter, messaging me on Discord, hitting me up with pings. And it's like, I'm sorry, you just have to wait. I can only do 1 per day for now. Hopefully I can scale it up to multiple, but I don't have the episodes ready yet. I'm trying to get through the game so I can bring this to y'all still, in terms of like the heavily detailed note stuff. So anyway, yeah, just run across the bridge. You can kill those the golems, the giants, whatever you want to call them. You can kill them if you want. They're obviously worth souls, but you know, I wouldn't worry about them. The biggest thing is we're trying to come over here and we're trying to get our Great Rune. As another reminder, in general, if we miss anything, I'm going to have it pinned in the top comment of the episode. On every episode, I put a comment doing a brief overview of key things that were important in that episode, in addition to anything that we may have missed. Some stuff we're going to go back. I know a couple people pointed out about one particular Ash of War that I overlooked. So we're going to get that this episode as well. A couple people mentioned Box Quest. It's like the monkey man hidden in a tree. I'll touch on him in a second also. So go on over here, restore the power. And you need to do this anytime you get a Great Rune, with the exception of Renala's. So now we're going to jump back to the map and go to the round table. So first thing we do at Round Table is we are going to equip our Great Rune, and this is going to be really nice. Now, there are a couple of these in the game. You just equip them right here after you have unlocked it at that Great Rune's respective Divine Tower, and upon doing that, you can then go into your inventory, and I don't have one right now, but when you have a Rune Arc, if you use that Rune Arc, it'll activate the power of your equipped Great Rune. So in this case, this Great Rune, we can see, raises all attributes. This actually boosts every single stat you have by 5, which is really significant in the early game. So super nice Great Rune, but obviously we need to have Rune Arcs. You can buy those now, but I wouldn't worry about it. We're going to find plenty of those as we go on. So the first thing we want to do while we're here, though, is we're going to go talk to Felly, who should be right here in the library.
You again. I thought you'd receive a summons to the Round Table. Nefeli, I'm glad to see you here. I found it in Godric's grafting grounds. You defeated him. You should have it. Make good use of it. I don't intend to make a habit.
So now we have the Arsenal Charm, which is super useful early on. Looking at our equipment load, you can see if I put this on, it's going to jump up quite a bit. So very nice early talisman for those thick boy builds.
Ah, yes. I wonder if you've met my foster father. He's in his study. If you haven't already, I advise you introduce. Father is lead, I'm sure, talking.
So her quest line is set for now. This guy still doesn't talk. This is still locked, but first we need to go do the Great Rune thing, which now that we have a Great Rune, you notice this door is now open as well. And these are the 2 fingers. So let's go on and talk to this lady.
Are you then? You've done well, ain't it? Let their wisdom Great anchor until it was tragic across the foul, but the great so it is the brave seek to become lethal.
Basically, we just need to get a second one to continue. But more importantly, now that we have a demigod done, we now have access to remembrances. Now, remembrances are the equivalent of basically your boss weapons. On certain bosses, both the demigods as well as certain other key bosses, you're going to get a remembrance, and then you can use that to pick one of two choices. So with this thing's actually pretty fun, the Grafted Dragon, really cool weapon art. The axe, in testing, I didn't find this all that good, but if you want a really big axe, it's there. If you don't need either of the items, you can of course just use this as a consumable and get a bunch of souls, which personally is what I'm going to want to do here, because I have no interest in either of those things. Additionally, this merchant, the Finger Reader Enya, as you kill more humanoid bosses and bosses that have armor and whatnot, you're going to be able to come back to her and you'll be able to buy boss armor from her. So right now there's obviously nothing, her inventory is fairly limited, but later on she is going to have stuff. So, which actually she might, hang on one second, let me test this. I think she might have some stuff right now if we just do a world state refresh. Actually, still doesn't have it. Okay, so that means that yeah, it must be killing the second, our second demigod that unlocks that potential. So some other things to touch on. We're going to talk quest chains. His quest chain doesn't really pick up until the Altus region, so talk to him if you want. It doesn't really matter. Dee's quest chain, this is going to tie into Fia's quest chain, but we don't need to worry about that for now. Going on over here, now that we've talked to her, this door's open. You can go on over here and you can talk to Gideon. I'm just going to burn through his dialogue and give you a brief overview of his use. So he's just telling us about the other demigods. Now, what I like about this guy is you can go here, and if you're not sure, or if you want lore or whatever, this is going to tell you about the various demigods. So there's lots of lore. Go ahead and just ask about Nefeli, because that's his daughter, and we want to, we want to burn through her dialogue. And I would suggest going through this on your own as well, just to learn about the demigods. So it's just, it's additional lore and stuff that you're going to get that is good. Going over here, I think we have a ball bearing return. No, we don't. Let's see if there's anything else I need from you. Actually, I'm going to pick up some stuff real fast. I want those keys. So I'll show you all the remembrance. I'm just going to go ahead and use this. Loading up on keys is always good. You don't have to load up on keys right now, but since this is the walkthrough, I always want to make sure I have enough to open stuff. Some other quests to touch on. So Dee's quest chain mainly just gets you a set of armor, but we don't need to do anything else with him for now. His quest is more tied on into Fia over here, which we're now going to talk to and get her quest going. Now, Fia's going to die eventually, but it's at the very end of her quest. So anyway, just go in, get a hug real fast, and then we're going to have an option to talk in secret. She's going to ask us to find a dagger. And by the way, all of these NPC quests, none of these are pertaining to the platinum. If there is something that you're going to do that could potentially cause you to miss the platinum, I will explicitly mention that when that time comes. Up until now, the only thing that we've done towards our platinum is, of course, get we've gotten a couple kills. We've gotten just the bosses we've killed. The guy down south, Margit, and then of course Godric. All three of those were.
Would you like me the blessing? Would you like to be?
Yes, I want another hug. Let's see if we can advance our dialogue more. So yeah, right now the only thing we need have been boss kills going towards our platinum. None of the NPC quest lines in the game relate to the platinum at all. There's a couple of different items that we need to get for the platinum, but we haven't missed any of those anymore. And of course, I'll point those items out as we get to them. But yeah, so I've seen a lot of people like, hey, the Wolfman won't come down with Snap, or hey, that NPC doesn't want to talk in secret. If you run into something like that, don't worry about it. Just move on to the next step in the videos. You probably went and did something in the world that caused an inconsistency, but you can still continue regardless. You're not going to miss your platinum, so just continue. So you can go ahead and talk to Rajier if you want. Tell him you've defeated Godric.
Well done. Something to
He's going to go on and give you Rogier's rapier.
might have guessed. No need to be.
Which will be nice for certain vehicles. Let's talk about the corpse.
It happened. Someone and on a bit that was, and it became. I once wish the world has. You'd better understand. And I urge you.
And then talk to D.
But our paths, although that's hard.
Now, so there's a little bit. I don't want to say conflicts, but there's a couple of intertwining threads with these quest lines. Dee's quest line ties into Fia, the lady that gives us the hug, and Rogier's quest line he's more a precursor. He is not needed really for any of these quest lines, but you know, talking to him, he'll give you some additional details. If we go through Dee's quest line, you're going to get another armor set. You're going to meet his brother, and then eventually his brother is going to be the one that kills Fia. But if you don't talk to Fia or Dee, you don't need to worry about that. You'll still get his particular armor later, and Fia, as long as we get a key item going through Ronnie's quest line, which we're going to get into later, we can go and do the very end of her quest line. So for the most part, a lot of these precursor steps, and when I'm talking to NPCs and whatnot, it really just kind of gives you starting lore towards the quest line. A good example is the Wolfman. Meeting the Wolfman, he leads into Ronnie's quest. Whether you meet him or not, though, is irrelevant. Now, if he's attacking you, you might need to use a Celestial Dew to get forgiven before Ronnie's quest, but that's still a long ways out. So we'll get to that when the time comes. But for now, there's a couple things we're going to go snag real fast. The first being right here at the Church of Pilgrimage. This is the northern church in the Weeping Peninsula, that southern region. You may remember we found that art picture when we were running around in the castle. And so we're just going to go straight north. Showing it on the map where we are. Church of Pilgrimage, this is where we went. This will get you the Warhawk Ashes. So those crazy birds with swords that were attacking you, you can now summon your own crazy bird with a sword. The next thing I'm going to do... Where was he at? It was like right here. A couple people pointed this out, so we're going to get it. And while we're on that note, I'm going to touch on Bach. I'll briefly pull up the map here. No, we are now War Master Shack, and we're going right over here. So just west of Death Touch Catacombs. Stuff like this is actually why I was so hesitant to do the walkthrough. There's a guy on a horse out here just riding around, and a couple people have said the audio has been too high on this series as well, so we're going to knock everything down one notch as well. But there's a guy riding around on a horse out here, and apparently if you kill him, he drops an Ash of War. You know, it's like super obscure stuff like that that had me hesitant about getting the 100% walkthrough going to begin with, because it's like, oh yeah, here's this one dude just hanging out, and if you kill him, you get a thing. There we go, Ash of War, Golden Vow. Let's see. The next thing we're gonna do... Let's see. We were gonna go out here. Now, you may have remembered coming on over to this area when we were doing our quick loop. We went over here when we got the greatsword. And what we're going to do now is go grab another quick weapon before we proceed. This is going to be a weapon that is really good for the mage folks out there. In particular, it's right over here. So what we're going to do is just go this way. There's also some stuff we can grab in the hut right here. That'll help with rot. We're going to get the recipe to fix rot in a couple episodes from now, but for the time being, as long as you're not going deep into Caelid, rot shouldn't really be a concern. But if you do need to get that, it's in the well area that we overlooked. That's coming up very soon, but I want to get us through a little bit of Liurnia of the Lakes before we go down into Soithra, because I'd say that area is slightly past Liurnia in terms of its difficulty. But right now we're heading to go get the Moonveil, one of the most ridiculous weapons in this game. This thing's probably going to get nerfed just because of how strong it is, but you know, until it does, it's a fantastic weapon for mages to have something good in their offhand. This is a pretty quick run through a tunnel, so we're going to do this, and then after that we're going to knock out the Fringefolk Hero's Grave, which is that grave that's at the start of the game that I said to not worry about for the time being. We're finally going to go tackle that now that we are stronger and better suited to a fight. This way. This way. Grab that Sombering 2. There's actually a couple of weapons that we get here that are pretty nice. We might level up as well. We're going to keep pumping our vigor up. I really want to get up to 40 vigor. That is the first soft cap. Your 2 vigor breakpoints for people that are trying to level up health are going to be 40 and then 60. After 60, the returns are very minimal. But getting all the way up to 40 is really going to help you. It's one of the biggest things that I didn't do in my Let's Play series, and it made certain bosses a massive struggle. And like I said before, your weapon damage it's mainly going to come from upgrades. So whether or not you have specific things isn't as much of a concern. As a reminder, some of these dudes, the minor dudes in particular, they're resistant to the slash damage we're doing. So if you have like a mace or something, it'll work better, but I'm just kind of whacking my way through anyway. So we're going to make this turn. We just came from there. We're just going right into this little cavern first. Put on this guy. It's going to be some big old squiddy boy that's going to show up. I'll start killing the babies, make them come out. While we're picking up weapons, let's actually talk about that briefly, because a lot of people have been asking, you know, hey, I'm getting ahead of you, what's the next weapon I should go for? So as I mentioned at the start, we're playing what's known as a quality build, and the advantage of the quality build is that as we get more and more towards endgame, Cross Naginata, by the way, that's a really, really, really nice polearm bleed weapon. Really solid moveset on that. Of course, it has bleed built in as well. But as we get towards the end game, our stats are gonna scale up, probably in the range of like 50-50 for both dex and strength, and that's just to give us the stats to use literally any weapon we want. So you should already have, if you've been following this guide over in your key items, you should already have this thing, the Iron Wet Blade, which, as you can see, when applying an affinity, allows an additional affinity of heavy, keen, or quality. You could pick any weapon that you can customize, meaning a non-unique weapon. So in this case, something like the Bloodhound's Fang is unique, but you could use the Falchion, you could use the Claymore, you could use the Straight Sword, you could use, let's see what else would work here. Hook Claws would work, the Whip would work, the Banished Knight's Halberd would work. This one is considered unique. This would work, this would work, this would work, this would work. And you can pick any of these things, and if you take them and you just turn them into quality using that whetstone that we got, all of a sudden you have a brand new quality weapon. So, you know, don't worry about whether the weapon that you are using is, you know, appropriate. The whole reason that I suggested you play a quality build was because you have the flexibility to use any weapon you want. So, you know, if you want to be a katana guy, be a katana guy. If you want to use the big greatsword, use the greatsword. And obviously, you know, there are certain setups that are more optimized. For the katanas, doing a dedicated dexterity build is going to be better. If you just want to use giant colossal weapons, you're going to be best off using strength. But the benefit of a quality build is that you can take pretty much every weapon in the game, and you can pick it up and use it, and you'll get by fine. And then once you know, like, you know, this is the weapon I like, I really like this particular weapon, then you can spec into a specialized spec for that particular weapon. I mean, and for quality in particular, the Bloodhound's Fang, this is actually one of the strongest weapons in the game. I haven't had a test to fully test everything out, but this gets absolutely insane scaling all the way into the late game. Like, this one weapon could carry you for the entire game as quality if you wanted it to. Has very strong scaling, has a bleed moveset. Anyway, so we killed the squiddies and got the Cross Naginata. We're gonna kill everything and grab loot. Gonna go down these stairs and get some more stuff. Right when you get down the stairs, you can see this guy's just hanging out right here. Make sure you kill him first. You don't want to be distracted. And go for this guy, and then the knife hits you in the back. almost through this place. The boss room is right there. Before that, though, we're going to open this. We'll grab the next part of Alexander's quest line.
Oh, the esteemed warrior. This was supposed to be a dead end. What's going on here? Well, gosh. Here to the festival. Doesn't the thought...
So his quest line is really important. The thing with a lot of these NPC quest lines, they might get you something really cool, but none of them are needed for platinum. If you go this way, this will pop you out into a rear entrance, but you can't. Even if you come in here from behind, that door that we just opened was locked, which is why we went this way. But like in particular, you know, going through his whole quest line, you'll get access to a talisman that increases how strong your sword skills are. There's another NPC we're going to meet called Millicent that going through her quest line gives us a talisman that like increases our damage with consecutive attacks in addition to boosting our dexterity. So there's some really nice stuff for these quest lines, but if something's messing up, once again, it will not jeopardize your platinum. So we're going to be fighting a magma worm here. This is probably the most difficult boss you fought up until now, depending on your setup. Mages, just keep rock slinging it in the face. Faith guys, Flame of Frenzy, even though it's a fire type lizard. I want to actually... Gotcha, shoulders didn't like you. 52, how much FP do I have? Oh, I can summon Bird, that's great. I can summon Bird. Who else could I summon? I might summon Bird. Show y'all Bird. Well, no, Bird's unupgraded. Bird is unupgraded. I could use Magic Grease if I want to add a little bit more oomph into this fight. It's probably not going to be needed, though. The biggest thing here is avoid the lava. The lava will hurt. So we're just trying to get some distance while he's clomping and stomping. Summon Bird. And the biggest thing is to just focus this guy's head. Killed my bird. By the way, if you're trying to kill this guy, the only class that I think really needs to kill him right now is going to be mages, because killing him as a mage is going to get you access to the Moonveil Katana, which I'm sure you've seen like a billion YouTube videos about by this point. But melee builds, you know, we're not going to use the thing that this guy drops anyway, so if you don't kill him, it's not a huge concern. There's that bleed proc. Yeah, mages, this is all about you just rock slinging. Use rock sling to bop him in the head. Every time you bop him in the head, he's going to fall down. So Dragonheart and Moonveil, as I mentioned, this is very much for a mage build, 23 and 18 dex, but this thing has a very, very good unique skill where if you use your normal attack, it's going to toss out a like horizontal blue wave that's good for AoE clear. If you use the heavy attack, it's going to do a quick vertical slice that travels pretty far. Just a really solid weapon for my mages out there to have something that allows you to actually stick in the fray while, you know, also being able to cast and whatnot. So we got the Great Rune, we talked to Crazy Lady, we talked to Nepheli and Gideon, we covered some of the quests, Warhog's Sacred Thing. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is Fringefolk Heroes. So this is actually all the way back at the start of the game, the first step. And this is the starter dungeon. You know, I don't recommend doing it any earlier than this. Before you go into this, it's good to have either a bow or a crossbow. You're going to want to have something on before you go in and try to do this place, because there's a really unique trick that we can do that'll make it significantly easier, but you're going to need a bow to pull it off. Real fast, let's see if Varia has left. Alright, Varia has left, so you don't need to worry about talking to him. We are going to do his quest line, though. That continues in the region we're going to get to in the next episode. So yeah, you can do this area earlier, but early on, I think the boss of this area is a little bit hard to tackle, which is why I don't recommend people do it until around this point. We're going to spend our souls before we go in for sure, because there's a good chance you'll probably die here multiple times. Not because I don't believe in you, just because this area it's basically a dungeon filled with BS. It's very similar to Sen's Fortress, but not quite as bad. But you'll need a stone sword key. If you don't have one, of course, you can always buy them from merchants. We're going to get down the ladder and then start running. As a general tip, you should not roll through poison. If you roll through poison, it's going to increase the buildup of the poison. It'll make it like hang on your character longer. So you can see the item up there. Don't go for it just yet. There's this chariot that will come running on down. And if the chariot touches you, you're probably dead. So now that the chariot's passed, we're going to run. In particular, you'll see these little grooves that we can hide in. Can I make it? Yes, I can. And now we're going to pass again. If you're having trouble, you can go to the first groove and wait. But we want to get to this third little area. And then we're going to drop down. And we're going to run over this way. And right here, where things split. It's coming already? Hang on. I want to get that one piece of loot. I think it's just like a rune 3, but I'll get it anyway. It's a golden rune 5. There we go. Alright, now that you're down here, gargoyles. Now we can go down further, but ignore that for now. The first thing we gotta do is take out these gargoyles. Come on, man. Put my lantern on. This place, I mean, if you know what you're doing here, this place is a breeze. If you don't, it sucks. Because you're just getting... That chariot is basically an instant kill. If it touches you, you're going to die. So, here's my guy. We're going to two-hand. We're going to aim. And you want to fire off a bolt and hit that. Oh, no. Shoot one again. Okay. Thought I had to reload. Looks like it'll just reload on shot. But yeah, so hitting that with any attack is going to lower it. So all we've done is we went ahead and we lowered that right now. Just so the fire doesn't hit us. If the fire does hit you, you saw how much damage it does. I'm going to go left first. There's some guys. There's a couple that are going to try and get you as well, but just run and kill this one. On that lightning grease for this next encounter. No, fire grease should work just fine. I'd rather say fire. Fire is more common at this point in the game. I think we can craft it already. Let me see. Yes, we can. Ooh, and I got plenty. Let's load up on fire grease. Yeah. Alright, so going into this area, there are two enemies that are going to try and get you. They're very hard to see with your bow. So the best thing to do is to just fight them. You can kind of see a lump on the ceiling that's like right at the tip of my head. And it's those things from near the start of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to run straight over there. And we should be able to fight the first one while the second one stays back over here. And we're going to focus on killing that thing. And then we're good. So get over here. Grab that item before it can potentially kill you. These guys, like I said, this place is going to be a little dangerous. Oh man, one's down. Now we don't actually need to kill the second. All we need to do is get across the bridge. But if this one's going to sit there and wait for us, we're going to try popping him with some bolts and see if I can lure him over here. So fight them if you want, but you don't have to fight them. In particular, you can see how there's like a sign down there. We're just gonna go right around here and we're good to drop. I don't believe these guys follow you. And then we just drop again. Now we're down in this gross little, I don't know, blood swamp or something. Go up this way, and then over on the left, once we get up this elevator, there's going to be a dude. Actually, we go up a little ways, and then we fight the dude. That talisman we just got, the Erdtree's Favor, this is pretty nice. It raises HP, stamina, and equipment load, but the very early one, this first one, is kind of weak, 7 stamina, and as you can see, I'm getting like 30-ish health from it. There's a +2 and a +3 version of this. The +3 is pretty good. The basic one, though, not as good. So kill this Banished Knight. Oh, God. Oh, no, I'm stuck. Bro! No, no. Oh my God. Terrifying. Scary boy. So go on and pick up that stone sword key. And then we're going to swap to our crossbow. And we're going to wait right around here. Now you can see up top. Oh God. See up top that we have these pots. We can make the pots fall and destroy this chariot. But first we need to get the chariot heading on down, so just hang out here because the chariot goes based on where you're gonna go. We need the chariot to turn his direction. There we go. Alright. You want to fire. In particular, you want to hit it like right around the time he starts moving this way, so like so he turns, we're going to look up, we're going to aim. It might take a couple tries to hit this thing. Do I not have more bolts? So that one whiffed a little bit. That's what you need to do. And you get 3 tries to pull this off. Alright, it's hitting us. We're going to wait. It's going down. It's turning around. Oh, that one was farther back. I only got one more try to do this. I'm going to time it for right after he hits this space and turns, so I can do it on cue. Oh no. Well, that's disappointing. Well, so yeah, if if you can time it right, those will actually destroy the chariot, which makes your life a whole lot easier. If you fail to do that, then things, they kind of suck a little bit more. So, well, I suppose it's all good that happened, because now I get to show you the other way to go through this zone. So we're going to drop this way. He's kind of in a tight path right now, and we need to lure him back up here. Okay, now that he's going, drop down. It's funny, in the walkthrough prep, my first arrow shot got it, and I was like, easy! And now I'm like, oh god, no. So right after he turns and goes up, you can actually get pretty far, and that's what we're going for right now. Once you start hearing him, it's time to get into a thing. You might be able to get a little bit farther, but it's not worth the risk. No, I don't want to go yet. I need to wait for him to go all the way down. I think he goes all the way down. You can always just track his path and watch, so we can see if he goes past that halfway point, we're safe. Okay, he turned, so now we're going to follow right behind him. Oh, he's already coming back, so just hang out here. Run, 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 run. Need another alcove to stick in. There we go. As you can see, those dudes, they just got clobbered by this thing. There's another Banished Knight right here. So this guy will be about as difficult as the other one. So just be ready. And this gets you the Dragon Communion Seal, which is one of the best scaling talismans in the game. Now, in particular, spells do not scale off of your stat whatsoever. Spells will scale off of the scaling. So this says incant scaling. This says sorcery scaling. So what that means is that number is what's going to determine how strong your sorceries are. That number, the incant, is going to determine how strong your faith spells are. And at least from all the ones I tested, I found that Dragon Communion Seal was blowing away some of the other ones. Now, I didn't go all the way up to the soft cap of 80 faith in my other tests. I do have to check that out. But if you want to go for a hybrid arcane build and you decide to use this thing, all of your normal faith spells will also receive that damage bonus. Even stuff that's like, you know, oh, well, lightning doesn't need arcane. It does not matter. As long as you meet the faith requirement to cast the spell, it's going to get the incant scaling bonus that you see there. So very important thing to keep in mind when it comes to spells in general. I think I can get down to the one. Gotten it a little close. I'm going to wait here for him because we need to go all the way down. So I want him leaving on the path and heading up before I try to make my run. Now, obviously, if you do manage to hit the pots and destroy this thing, none of this matters. You can just run through here freely. Obviously, you got to worry about the enemies at that point. Okay, we kept going. That's good. And we're just going to go all the way down. You can see an item down there. We're going to kind of target that because he's going to start coming straight down for us. He's coming. There he is. All right, and we're all the way at the bottom. So thankfully, we got a... oh my god. Got a stake here if we die. But in here, you're going to fight another sea beast, which I think that they've been... The names of these things have been found, and it's like... yeah, I think they're called tree spirits, yeah. Ulcerated tree spirit. I like sea beast more. But anyway, we're probably just going to die this attempt simply because we don't have any healing or health. This thing wiggles all over the place. I'm still going to try, though. Oh. And there we go. But we have a respawn right here, so it shouldn't be that bad. Okay, heading back in. Except now we're ready. We got our heals. Guys in trouble. Look at that beautiful roll. Trees hate fire. You can see I'm timing my roll for right when he does that tail swipe attack, and that's taking advantage of iframes. Yeah, and what's weird is every now and again, I've noticed this a lot with these guys. They'll just suddenly get passive after like a big critical or whatever the case is. This is like the 6th or 7th time I've seen it happen. But definitely makes the end of those fights a bit easier. And with him down, we now have access to the OG, my boy Oleg. Now, Oleg is not considered a legendary, but he is super good. This guy has like double claymores, does a ton of attacks. Oleg straight up carried me through the majority of the Let's Play, so I cannot overstate enough how awesome of a summon this is. He does cost 100 FP, so obviously that's going to be a pretty beefy investment into mine, especially for my strength gain. But mages, personally, I like Oleg more than I like Lutel. Oleg does work. So anyway, we are wrapping things up here. We can obviously leave with the grave done. In terms of the net, well, let's real fast. Let me just talk about. I'm going to talk about Bach because people are like, "What about Bach's quest? You missed Bach." Bach might be gone already. I don't even know. We're going to find out. So Bach is, he should be like right over here. There's an NPC right around here. I think it's this bush, but he's hiding as a bush. It's a demi-human. Not that bush. Is it this bush? Not that bush. Anyway, there's a demi-human NPC out here that hides in one of the bushes. I know it's right by this thing, but I'm not seeing him, so I may have already advanced his quest line. But ultimately, you don't really get anything from it. If you do his quest line, what you do is you give him the tailoring tools, and then he offers to tailor your gear for free. And then, you know, he'll move around the map a bunch. And this is why I'm not even covering him, is he doesn't give you any key items, anything important. The only thing he does is right here when we go to... Oh, already jumped out. When we go to this grace and we go over to altar garments and we do this, and it's 500 runes, he lets you do that for free. But you have to travel to a specific grace every time you want to do it. And on top of that, he hops all over the map. So to me, I'd rather, I mean, the 500 runes is a convenience fee. 500 runes is absolutely nothing. And I'm not traveling to one spot just to take a cape off every time I want to do it. So if you want to do Bach and his quest line, feel free to look up a guide for it. I'm not going to cover him because he's not relevant, in my opinion. You know, he doesn't, there's no key items from him. There's no trophies from him. And I think it's just kind of a pointless quest. So anyway, now I was going to wrap the episode up there, but during the prep streams, we found a cave that I'd overlooked right here, Tombsword Cave. You just go southeast of the 4th Church of America, down here in Weeping Peninsula. So we're going to go back and hit that now real fast. This place is pretty simple. There's poison, so you can put on Blessed Dew Talisman to heal through that. I've already cleared most of this, so I'm literally just going to be running through, showing where to grab the items, and we're slapping it on to the end of the episode and editing it in before it goes live. So there's going to be a rune on that corpse. There's 2 holes. There's that hole over there, and there's this hole. You're going to take this hole first. That's how we get out. Ignore it for now. Instead, run this way. We're going to have a rat, and then one more rat. And then you have a big rat. And you have a piece of loot and a piece of loot, one of them being a cookbook that you can use to make poison grease, which is largely useless because poison only ticks for like, I think it's 6 damage per second or something. Like it's so minuscule that it's not even worth using on weapons. But so you kill that rat. You get lots of poison blooms here early. And then you run around, more moss. Right up here, there's some plants. Right by the plants, there'll be another piece of loot. That's an arteria leaf. You can grab that. If we jump back up top to the main room, there's a piece of loot on that guy you can snag. And then after that, the only thing left here is the boss, which is right down here. Check over here. Was there loot over here? Yeah, I think there was loot on that body as well. So grab that. And then go to the boss. It's these flower things. It's a big one. It's a close fight. We're just going to use fire grease. If you're a caster, just, you know, spam spells. Covered the cave I had missed, and now you have a talisman that honestly you're never going to use because there's way better stuff. I mean, that gives me 4 more stamina than the Erd Tree Favor, and the Erd Tree Favor also gives me health and a quit load, so... Anyway, and adding one more into the mix that I missed. This is right here by Castlemore Rampart. I mentioned that there was a seed over here, and someone pointed out that there is actually a death bird that will spawn over here at night. It's those death birds and night riders that get you, man, because you gotta rerun the entire game in darkness to try and find them all. But just so head basically bearing southwest with Castlemore off in the distance, and right around the time we get past these ruins, this guy should show up right around these bats. Which obviously this is gonna look a little bit different because characters, we're now up to like episode 12 on recording. Which, I mean, it's a death bird. You all know how to fight these things already, but going back and covering it. Let's see what this one drops. Ah, the sacrificial axe bird. Okay. Well, from here, we are ready to wrap up our time in this region. As for the next episode, if I remember, we're going to be heading on up north to Liurnia, and starting from the lake-facing cliffs that we grabbed when we did our initial loop through there. So, we're wrapping things up for here. I believe we now have everything in Limgrave, with the exception of the Kenneth Hike quest, and that comes back into the picture a little bit later. So, stay tuned, and I'll catch y'all next time with more.